rising, layup, good. It's a triple-double for Bella Earl.
Goes matched up with a speedy guard. Great screen, spin move, layup, he missed it. Williamson fights for the board. His putback is good.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Straight Out WAC After Hours. I know I said I probably wasn't going to do this tonight because it just feels weird without Daryl here. They're in Riverside. He's outside of LA, and they have a power. They've turned off the electrical basically around that area so that there's no spark or I can't remember the word, but we're praying that they're staying safe. CBU, both the men and the women's basketball teams and anybody else out there, praying they're staying safe if anybody's affected by those fires. It's crazy. I still think it's crazy that Texas had a snow day today because of all the snow around the DFW area and, in Texas. I get that you don't get snow very often, and so you don't have snow plows. But still, like you barely got, I don't know what it is now, but from what I saw, it was about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. So it's just weird. But anyways, that's why I wasn't possibly going to be doing this. So if you're up late, you're watching this, thank you for tuning in. We're only going to be here for a few minutes. It was kind of a wild night. Actually, it really wasn't a wild night in the WAC. A road team finally won on the men's side. And on the women's side, we had a milestone. Molly Miller picked up her 100th win as the head coach at GCU in the Grand Canyon's 71-59 win over Utah Valley. Bill Brock's Tarleton State Texans beat Southern Utah 64-53. That game was moved up because of the weather in Texas. And then UT Arlington won 81-60 over Utah Tech. The Lady Mavs are now 2-0 in WAC play, along with GCU at 2-0. So those were the only three women's games. Excuse me. I believe Tiara Brown hit the 1,000-point mark tonight for GCU as well in her career. So big stuff, big record-setting things. On the men's side, we had some technical issues with probably the game of the night with Utah Valley and Tarleton. Excuse me. I was there. So it's all purple. So I apologize for that. Utah Valley Grand Canyon at the UCCU Center. ESPN Plus was down, so that's why you weren't able to see the first, 10, 15 minutes of that game. Unfortunately, missed a highlight reel alley-oop dunk by Carter Welling. But when you did turn it on, you kind of got to see a better basketball game. Utah Valley took a 10-point lead in the break. It was courtesy of they pulled off a 13-0 run or something like that midway through the first half to kind of extend that lead and go in with a 10-point lead. And then GCU crawled back, got within a point before a key play. Todd Phillips took a timeout, and they inbounded the ball to Jackson Holcomb. I don't think it was the design. He was in the right corner, right in front of the Utah Valley bench, and then goes one-on-one to the hole, finishes with a layup, and then Utah Valley just kind of pulled away from there and, earned the win tonight over Grand Canyon, 72-64. And the thing about it is it's only the second time in 7 games against the Lopes that the Wolverines have won. The last time that they beat GCU was in 2023. I'm going to go back to the history. I was looking this up earlier. They beat, if my internet works here to get to that point, there it is. They beat GCU in Phoenix 76-74 during the 2022-23 regular season title run. And that was the only time they played that season in 2022-23. So that was the last time they beat GCU since 2020-21 when they won in Phoenix 59-55 when they did those doubleheaders. So big win for Todd Phillips. Dom Nelson had 21 points tonight. But I really want to give a shout out to Jackson Holcomb. That guy he was plus 17 off the bench for Utah Valley tonight. His numbers don't jump out, but one, he had the big bucket that kind of sparked their run late in the second half, right? They got them going again because they were really flustered. And GCU had all the momentum. They were attacking the rim. They were playing defense. They're getting turnovers. And that's what got them back in the game. But Jackson Holcomb's bucket, I want to go back and look at it. I don't have the note here with me. I think GCU was within a point or two. So it was 51-50 after Tyron Grant Foster's free throw with a little over 9 minutes to play. Jackson, after a steal by Dom Nelson, Jackson Holcomb out of a timeout goes in for the layup, right? Gives Utah Valley a 53-50 lead. And basically GCU, that started a, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 7-0 run that made it 58-50. And basically GCU never got within 5 after that. It was basically 8-10 the rest of the way. And there was a huge block that he had against a Luke War 3-pointer later in the second half. And yeah, Jackson Holcomb, big time second half for Utah Valley, kind of gave them life off the bench. Any comments, you guys? I know there's a few here. Alex Small, Coy Love had herself a game. Dude, Coy Love is a baller. I'm not gonna lie. I watched her in the Purdue game when I was there in West Lafayette back in November, and she is one of the best players on the floor. And she didn't have a good game, and obviously UT Arlington lost the game. But she went for 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Avery Brittingham, another double-double with 11 points, 10 rebounds in UT Arlington's win. Zoe Nelson had 11 boards off the bench for Sharika Wright's crew. This is a good UT Arlington team. They're deep and they're talented. Might be one of Sharika Wright's best. And here's the thing. Sharika Wright's had Star Jacobs. She has Coy Love now. Coy Love is a more well-rounded version of Star Jacobs in that she's more of a team player rather than just focusing on herself. And that's not a slight to Star Jacobs, but they're just different, right? So Sharika Wright's team, very good. Let's go Bryce Larson, good old Bryce from ESPN. Well, I think it's still ESPN 960. Phenomenal game from Utah Valley. 17 offensive rebounds, 10 blocks. It was the hustle plays that won the game. Yes, it was. Big time. They didn't – I think the guards, Todd Phillips mentioned this in the postgame. The guards between Tanner Toulson, Trevin Lenhart, and Dom Nelson, they had 23 rebounds between the three of those guys. Those are guards. 23 of Utah Valley's 45 rebounds came from the guard line. That's amazing. Kylan Green chipped in 3. So 26 of the 45 rebounds came from the guards. And GCU is big. So the fact they won the rebounding 45 to 37. They also won the points in the paint. They had 30. Well, no, they didn't win the points in the paint. It was even 32-32. That's a crazy stat. But it was the points off turnovers. They had 20. GCU had 6. GCU forced 12 turnovers. So they didn't get many opportunities. And Utah Valley only forced 14. So they made the most of those turnovers by scoring points. So it was a fantastic game. The atmosphere got pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It started off slow, but it got pretty good in that ball game. Cody, I can take a loss, but GCU had so many times when they just watched Utah Valley get off offensive rebounds. Yeah, my problem is it's not my problem. It's just my thought on GCU. There's so much talent there that if they play as a team instead of it being one-on-one or go here, go there, like they're going to be very good. I don't know if that's ever going to happen because, Tyan wants to be the guy. Ray wants to be the guy. Jacoby Coles, I think, wants to be the guy. And Colin Moore wants to be the guy. So if they can just mesh a little bit, they could win this league easily again because they have the most talent. But if they're not meshing and it's simply one-on-one, go here, go there, it's going to be a struggle. And then, they got out-rebounded tonight, and the guards for Utah Valley out-rebounded even GCU's bigs. So that's got to be concerning. But again, Utah Valley plays really well at home at the UCCU Center, and they've won now six straight? I believe it's six straight. That was the fifth straight win, excuse me, and they're 6-0 at home. So they play well at home. And especially after last week when they didn't play well against Abilene Christian at home to start WAC play. So that's a big, big thing for Utah Valley. Plus, GCU, as everybody knows this season, hasn't played well away from GCU Arena. So you add in that mix, and that played right into it. The Lopes didn't get off to a good start. And I think they were surprised a little bit at the length. Even though it doesn't seem like Utah Valley has a ton, they were still a little bit surprised. So it was a fun ball game. It really was. I know Lopes fans won't think it was, but it was a fun ball game. Good pace, and you liked that the Lopes battled back from being down 13 right out of the gate in the second half, and made a game of it. Tylen Grant Foster he's just different. He's just different. There were a couple dunks that he had tonight, and one of them I point out, I still think it was an offensive foul with the way he pushed off, but I'm not an official, so I'm not going to say anything. But the fact that he could dunk like that in traffic, and the one thing, you got to be concerned about still is the three-point shooting. GCU was okay tonight. They were 5 of 17, but there were a lot of missed opportunities. So, just give credit to Utah Valley. They finished the game. They shot the ball decent. They hit 6 3-pointers. They were 20 of 27 from the free throw line, and they hit free throws down the stretch. But the rebounding and the points off turnovers were a big difference tonight in Orem. Got all these comments are coming on. I guess I'm glad I turned this on because I know a lot of you were looking forward to it. I'm sorry, it's 10 o'clock here in Utah. So that's 11 o'clock in Texas, wherever you're watching. It's awesome. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I miss Daryl. It's always good to talk women's basketball too. We'll talk a little bit about that. If you ain't texting, you ain't. I can't say that on the air. I'm not going to say it on the air. But Billy Clyde Gillespie's Texans are 2-0 in WAC play. They beat UT Arlington, and then they went on the road and beat Southern Utah. And basically led 95% of that ball game tonight in Cedar City. Watching some of it after the UVU game, you can see the guards getting after the Southern Utah guards and forcing some turnovers. Maybe that challenging non-conference schedule is paying off. The fact that they got that experience and they got beat up on a little bit, but you get that experience of playing high-caliber opponents in that non-conference when you know that you're in a one-bid league and you can go play those games and you just want to compete, right? If you pull off an upset, great, but you just want to compete and you want to get better. Maybe that's what's going on here. I just, that they're going to play hard, but there's a bit of speed that surprises me with this Texan team. And Izzy Miles, one of the better guards that can get after you and is quick. Man, Tarleton's going to be trouble, I think. And I told you in my first power rankings that it wasn't fair where I put them just because we didn't know much about them, right? Now we do know. They're 2-0, and they could be 3-0. That game in St. George on Saturday against Utah Tech is going to be awesome, right? It's going to be awesome. Let's just put it that way. All these comments coming in. Keller Sherman, Utah Tech, maybe with the most shocking result of the night. I always thought they had a chance because it was in the Burns, but didn't expect them to really control the game like that. Noah is a baller. Could be the next TC You're going. The thing is, Utah Tech finally shot the ball well. They were 9 of 12 from three-point range in the first half. Hakeem Bird, I think he hit like 3 of them, but combined, he and Noah Gonzalez had 11 three-pointers between the two of them. Utah Tech hit 15 for the game. When you shoot 15 of 26 from three-point range, that's what? 58% from 3-point range. Of course, you better win the game. I mean, that's talking to Utah Tech coaches. That's what they felt. They could shoot it like all season long. So they finally got it to open up WAC play. Here's an interesting stat. Rod Zundel pointed this out tonight. Utah Tech started 2-0 in WAC play last year. Now they're 1-0 this year, and they host Tarleton with a chance to go 2-0 this year. So that game at the Burns Arena on Saturday is going to be bomb. I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it. That's another thing I have to look at because I'm going to be on a plane to Seattle. I'm going to Seattle on Saturday for the Seattle ACU at Seattle U at Climate Pledge Arena. Figured I have to get up to the Climate Pledge before Seattle U leaves the WAC. But yeah, that Tarleton State Utah Tech game will actually be starting an hour before Seattle U and Abilene Christian tip off. So I'll be able to watch a good portion of that ball game. So I'm very excited about that. Oh, let's keep going. Geez. Also, SUU losing streak up to 6. That hot start feels like ages ago. I'm not even really going to say much about it. I had higher hopes for Southern Utah, at least to this point, to start WAC play. I still think they can turn it around. They got players, Tavi Jackson, Dom Ford, Hersey Miller, Jameer Simpson. They have players. They just got to put the full game together, right? And they got to take care of the basketball. They turned it over a lot tonight, which is what Tarleton does. They turn you over. So it is surprising. They get UT Arlington. So there's going to be a lot of points scored, I think, on Saturday at the AFEC because both teams like to shoot the three and like to score. They don't really tend to like to play a lot of defense. So there should be a lot of points. That'll be an interesting ball game for two teams that are both 0-2 in WAC play. So somebody's trying to get out of that hole. So that'll make that game interesting. GCU plays AAU ball. Sometimes they look really cohesive, right? But I think they just got a lot of mouths to feed. They got guys that want to score and guys that are older in their careers and trying to get to that next level. And so they're trying to be the heroes, right? They're trying to play a game that's going to make them look better instead of just playing as a team, which will make them look better like they want and probably get them to where they want to go, right? Which is back to the NCAA tournament and win a game or two at March Madness. So they have to understand, don't play hero ball. You don't need to do that to be successful and to make your impact and make yourself known. Play as a team and win games. That makes you more known than anything else, really. Thoughts on Chris? I want to say this right. Mpaka, I hope I say that right. Dude, this guy's athletic. He's like a Keandre Gaddy almost from last year. Just a guy that can play in the post, can dunk over people, can score, can rebound. Like, I like this guy. He's super athletic, and I'm excited to see Tarleton in a couple weeks. I'll be down at Wisdom Gym. I think that's on the February 1st. So I'll get to see the Texans. I can't remember who they're playing. I'm going to look here. I have the schedule right here in front of me. On February 1st, they play Southern Utah again. So a couple weeks, I'll see SUU at Tarleton. I'll also see Utah Tech at UT Arlington. So that rematch from tonight, since the Utah Tech UT Arlington game is at 2. Let's see. Noah G is a beast. Noah Gonzalez is a beast. He's been there for what? It's his 3rd or 4th year with John Judkins. So he knows the system. He knows how to play. He's been there through the growing pains. He's been there since 2021-22. So this is his senior year. So he started basically every game. I shouldn't say started. He's played in every game since he stepped on campus in 2021-22. So he's the most experienced player on that roster, and he's one of the best shooters in the WAC. That's no joke. So, yeah, he is a beast. I agree with you. Robert, another big Tarleton win. Yep, sure is. They're 2-0 in the WAC, just kind of going off what they did last year, where they finished 2nd in the WAC regular season standings. Remember that awful Utah Valley loss at home that if they win that game, they win a share of the regular season title. So, yeah, just starting off right where they're at. And they still don't have Freddie Hicks. He did dress to warm up tonight, and he was available if needed, but they weren't going to play him. So he's still reeling from a foot injury. I love all these comments, you guys. This is awesome. I love it. Still 4 inactive scholarship players for us, I believe. Yep. And that's the thing. How will that affect Tarleton, though, when they get the full scholarship, all the scholarship players back? Or if they do, will that mess with the chemistry that they have going right now? Do you just stick with the 6 or 7 that you're playing, that Billy Gillespie's playing right now? That's another thing you have to be concerned about with a winning streak. You don't mess with it, right? You just don't mess with them. Or maybe that's just a baseball reference, I guess. 6 threes for Noah. Noah, actually, he hit. Oh, yeah, he did hit 6. Excuse me. Sorry. He went 6 of 8. Hakeem Bird went 5 of 7. Noah finished with 24 points. Hakeem Bird had 21. Justin Beaker had 12 points, 6 rebounds. So good all-around game from the Trailblazers. They led basically start to finish in that game in St. George. Let's see. GCU looks so good on paper, but like you said, everybody wants to be the guy. It'll be a long year if we keep this. It will, and that's all there is to it. You have to come together as a team and play team basketball where you're finding the open guys rather than just going, and there are times when you want to put the ball in Tyon's hands or maybe Ray or somebody where they're going to make a play, when you need a bucket, right? So you need something to break the dam a little bit, and that's when you want them to go attack. But you have to play within yourselves and get everybody involved because Luke Ward can knock down a three-pointer. Like, he's so smooth from three-point range when he's open. Jacoby Coles is a great shooter, right? There's guys that you want to play within the team aspect. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think if they keep playing the iso ball, it's going to be a challenging season that they didn't think they were going to have. So they got to figure that out quickly. Finally, in terms of Utah Tech shooting the ball the way they did, Hakeem is such a good shooter. Yeah, talking to the Utah Tech staff, they knew that they could shoot the ball, and they knew it was a matter of time. So we'll see if they can do it on Saturday when those guards are going to be challenged. They're going to have to be on their game because Tarleton, they're going to pressure that guard line. They're going to push out the three-point line. So can Utah Tech find other ways to score to win a game? Do you think it's a must-win for SU on Saturday? In terms of what, though? That's the question. In terms of the regular season title race, yes. In terms of getting to WAC Vegas, not necessarily. There's too much basketball to be played. Just too much basketball. That's all I'm gonna say. There's 14 games in the conference season, or not 14. Excuse me. There's 16 games in the conference season. So 2 losses, 3 losses doesn't really hurt you. You just want to make it to Vegas instead of being in that play-in game in St. George on March 11th. So I don't think it's a must win, but I think they need to get a win to kind of snap that and get their confidence back. That's what I'm saying. I think they need to get a win, especially at home, right? Because they go on the road. Maybe they have a home game. So they're off next Thursday. And then they go on the road to Seattle on January 18th. And then they're back home for Grand Canyon on the 23rd. And they host California Baptist on the 25th. So they have a brutal stretch here. I don't know if anybody really opens up with that challenging of a slate. So it's very interesting. Let's see. It says, it could be worse. I don't even want to talk about the SU women. Less said about them right now, the better. Yeah, Tracy Mason's crew is struggling. That's the best way to put it. I think I don't even know how to word it really. They're just struggling. They don't have a lot of offensive firepower. They're 0-2 in WAC play, 2-13 overall. They've lost 3 in a row. They just don't have a ton of firepower. That's the problem. They don't have enough to keep up with these teams in the WAC that can score. And it's not a terribly deep bench for Tracy Mason, so we'll just leave it at that. Like you said, a real struggle. 4th year for Noah. Yeah, 4th year. And like I said, he's played in nearly every game since stepping on campus in 2021-22. Was really excited for Ronnie Harrison, but he hasn't even been seen in the last couple of weeks. Odd. Somebody said he wasn't even on the roster. I thought I saw that, but I think he still is. I'm not. I want to say he still is, but somebody said he wasn't dressed out the other night. Yeah, he's still on the roster, but he wasn't dressed out the other night in the win on Saturday. So not sure what's going on there. Billy Gillespie, like I said, he played 7 guys tonight, and his 5 starters played 30+ minutes. Izzy Miles played 39 minutes. So it's kind of back to that same Billy Gillespie type deal where his starters are playing a ton of minutes. So we'll see how that plays out down the road, if they can handle that. But for now, they're doing well. Feels like I haven't seen him on the bench or any photos. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I know they keep stuff close to the chest down there in Stephenville, so I'll see if I can find something out, but I don't think I will. They won't ever say anything. So we'll see what goes on. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take a 30-second break real quick. I've been going for 25 minutes. Like I said, I missed Daryl because he gives some breaks for me to stop talking, and you don't want to hear me talking for an hour. But I'm not going to go too much longer because yours truly is trying to lose weight. He got a gym membership and started going to the gym this week. We get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym, me and my buddy. And I'm super sore, but it's super good and just got to keep at it. So I'll be right back in 30 seconds. Stay with me. If you have any other questions, send them my way, send comments my way. I love them. Love seeing that people are tuning in. It's awesome. NBA Plowboy, I'll answer this last comment when I come back. I promise. So I'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay, guys, I want your input. My wife just texted me. She's watching this, by the way. Love my wife. Anyways, but she says I need something in my background. What do you think? It looks unique, right? The framing of my basement and the insulation back here. Like, come on. It's different than what everybody else. I don't have all the replicas or all the banners or all the, I don't know. You guys make the decision and I'll figure it out. NBA Plowboys, realignment wise, where do you see the WAC going? I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. Somebody asked me this the other day. I think it was Grant Boone when he was here Saturday for the ACU Utah Valley game. And it's hard to say because the WAC's not stable. So how are you going to entice teams to come into the WAC when your conference isn't stable, right? With so many question marks surrounding it. Is Tarleton going to make the jump to Conference USA or a football-sponsored FBS conference, right? What's ACU going to do, right? Because they have aspirations of bigger and better things. That's why they didn't go back to the Southland like some of the other schools. Is CBU going to get an invite to the WCC with Grand Canyon not joining the WCC? Utah Valley has had phone calls from the Summit and from the Big West and others. Like, if you're Southern Utah and Utah Tech, what do you do? With football, that's the problem, because I don't know that Big Sky wants SUU back. And I don't know that where Utah Tech and SUU would go for football. So I don't know. I really don't. And I don't think they're going to be able to bring in any teams or schools because there's so much instability with the unknown. That was what was nice when they brought in those Texas schools and Southern Utah and UT Arlington. There was stability, right? Some stability. Basketball was going to be one of the best mid-major conferences in America. Football was back, and it's where we're at now. That's all my reaction is. Like, I don't want to react more to it because it's so unfortunate where we are now and where it could have been. Yeah, that's my spiel with that. I could see a Big Sky invite for Utah Tech, maybe, but I think there's a lot of dominoes that have to fall there and things that have to happen. Plus, they need to get a president at Utah Tech for anything to happen. They have an interim president right now. So, it's such a mess. Such a mess. That's all I can say. We are most likely on the way out. Would like to see ACU go with us. Just don't see a great solution for the WAC. Angela, thing is, you can't bring up transition schools and fill them in with. outgoing Division I schools. You just can't anymore. It's a whole different breed, because if you do, then if Tarleton and ACU leave, that leaves what, 5 teams in the WAC, and then if you bring in 2 transitioning teams, that means you have 5 teams that can go to your conference tournament in men's and women's. That wouldn't qualify, I don't think, for the automatic bid in the NCAA tournament. So they lose that because I think they have to have 6 at least at their conference tournament. So I don't know, man. It's a mess, and I can see, yeah, like you said, once the PAC schools and the Mountain West figure it out, finalize all their stuff, that's when the dominoes will fall with the rest of all the other realignments. So I don't know, guys. I really don't. It's unfortunate because, like I said, it could have been such a great mid-major basketball league. And at some point we could have gotten possibly to 2 bids with the talent that we had coming in and with the growth opportunities that were there to be had. And instead now we're going to be down to 7 teams next year. And maybe after that, the WAC won't exist. I don't know. It's sad. It really is. It's disappointing because this conference is hung on by a thread at times. And then Jeff Hurd, pulled off that coup with the Southland schools and got Southern Utah to, walk away from the Big Sky, and, got UT Arlington back in the WAC, even though it was only here for 1 year, way back when, a decade ago. So, you guys, it was a fun night. It's crazy to think Utah Valley's 2-0, Tarleton's 2-0, Grand Canyon's 1-1, Southern Utah, UT Arlington are 0-2. I mean, it's a great league, and both the men and the women. Congrats to Molly Miller. Like I said, she won her 1,000. It was her 100th game tonight as the GCU women's basketball head coach. So congrats to her. I hate that there was only 3 games on both sides. 3 men's games, 3 women's games. Why did we have 3 teams who had a bye tonight? I think there's another time that happens. That shouldn't be happening. Only 1 team per night should have a bye. So it's kind of weird. You could have played, CBU and ACU, and then had ACU go up to Seattle. That could have been their West Coast road trip. You could have done that one swing, but they didn't. So, I don't get paid the big bucks to make those decisions. Keller Sherman, hope Utah Tech finds a president soon. Going on a year. Yeah, like that's crazy that they haven't found a president in over almost a year. Like that's nuts. That's terrible. It should have been done, because you can't really fundraise, or you can't get all that stuff going without a president who kind of directs things, right? So you got to figure that out. Robert, is Utah Valley men's a regular season favorite in your eyes based on the first couple of games? Maybe. I mean, they've proven that they can beat GCU. They have a big one with CBU. So you got the top 2 teams in my power rankings that are coming into Orem. If they win on Saturday, yeah, we could say that, but they got to go win on the road. Okay, this Saturday will be their 3rd straight WAC home game, and then they got to go on the road. So if they can win on the road, then yeah. But I think this league's wide open now. After seeing GCU battle with Southern Utah at home to start WAC play, and then tonight struggling, to get going on the road, I think this league's wide open. I'm going to be frank with you. I think it's wide open. I think maybe even, Southern Utah or UT Arlington at 0-2 right now could come back and be in the mix at the end of the season somehow. Like, that's just how balanced I think this league is. There's serious question marks with Abilene Christian. Utah Tech showed if they shoot the ball well, they can play and beat people. So I don't think there's any favorite right now. I think it's just, we're going to see over the next 2 months or so, these teams beat up on each other, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I really am. January 23rd, I'll be at CBU for that Utah Valley at CBU game that's on ESPNU. January 30th, I'll be at Grand Canyon when Seattle U's down there to face Grand Canyon. That game's on ESPNU. And I think, am I right that UTA Tarleton? No, I'm not going to the UTA Tarleton game, unfortunately. That it'll be on ESPNU. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. Keller, love the WAC so very much, even though I know many that weren't crazy about coming over from. Yeah, it at the time it was a great basketball league. It still is a good basketball league. It's just so sad what could have been. So sad what could have been. Next UTA and Tarleton game is on ESPNU. If you didn't see that, I didn't see that. I probably would have scheduled to come down for that game because I'm at the other two ESPNU games that the WAC has this year. So my apologies there. But yeah, everybody, it's been a good 35 minutes. I miss Daryl. Please, if you don't, give him a shout out, give the CBU teams a shout out, to wish them well right now, because they're all dealing with the aftermath of this fire. Like, what's the word I want to say? Indirectly, because there's a power shutdown in that area, that Los Angeles area, and all the outlier communities. So they don't have much. They don't have power right now. In their little communities right now. So, at Daryl DERRYL _golfer is his Twitter. Give him a shout out. He covers women's basketball for WAC Hoops Nation. Does a great job with it. If you didn't see, he had a podcast episode with Donja Stafford Collins of Utah Valley today that went out. And he's really disappointed that he couldn't be on here tonight because of the power issues. So give him a shout out. Wish CBU, to stay safe, and shout out to the Lancers and Daryl. Hope all's well. Thinking about you guys and all those who've been impacted by that fire, those fires, I should say, in California. But everybody, appreciate your time. Have a good night, Kyle. Great work. I can't do it without you guys. The questions, the comments, the thoughts. Like I said, because so many asked if we were going to have one tonight when I was sitting down eating my late dinner. I wasn't going to do it because Daryl's not here, but I decided to do it for you. And I appreciate you tuning in. It's late. Go to bed. Enjoy your Friday. And we'll see you back here on Sunday. We're not going to do it Saturday night because I'll be in Seattle for that ball game. And yeah, so we'll do it Sunday night. We'll be back here straight out of WAC after hours on Sunday. Okay. So enjoy your Saturday. Should be some more fun games. We're back to 4 games each on both sides. I think the schedule is on Saturday. I think GCU has a day off. Yeah, both the GCU teams have the day off. California Baptist at Utah Valley on the men's side on a Saturday afternoon tip-off. UT Arlington at Southern Utah. Tarleton at Utah Tech, and Abilene Christian at Seattle U, and then the women's are vice versa. So everybody, enjoy the rest of your Thursday night, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Straight Outta WAC After Hours. Again, thanks for tuning in, and share with your friends and your fellow fans that they need to follow WAC Hoops Nation. We have a great time. So appreciate you, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta WAC podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow WAC Hoops Nation on all your favorite social media platforms.